Abortion advocates don't want you to support women. Hey everyone, I'm Kristan Hawkins. Welcome to this new episode of the Explicitly Pro-Life podcast.
Listen, a post-Roe America is coming.
And we as a pro-life generation recognize now more than ever,
pro-life voices are needed to cut through all the noise.
To be a voice for the voiceless.
To stand for truth and life.
We are the new Students for Life contributors, and we're bringing you exclusive and original content.
I'm Autumn Higashi, your host of Unapologetic. I'm here to help you break down the pro-abortion narrative so you know how to defend what you believe in with truth and love.
I'm Yeargin, your host of the new show Speak Out. I'm looking forward to bringing you interviews with the biggest names out there who are bold enough to stand for life.
I'm Kongmin Lee, your host of Man Up. I'm looking forward to bringing you the pro-life position from a man's perspective and satire exposing the absurdity of pro-abortion logic.
Consider us another tool in your pro-life arsenal to prepare for a post-Roe generation.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. You won't want to miss this.
You heard me right. Abortion advocates don't want you to support women. They only want women to have access to abortion. Full stop. Today, my guest is Kristan Yeargin. She is the podcast host of the Students for Life powered show, Speak Out. I'm so excited to have Kristan on. After an unplanned pregnancy, Kristan became a passionate advocate for the pro-life movement. Recognizing a need, she founded Be Their Village and now works to connect women in unplanned pregnancies to resources in their area and uses the pro-life community she's built on social media to complete baby registries for women who reject abortion and choose life. She regularly speaks at events, college campuses, pregnancy resource centers across the country. She has the Speak Out show as Students for Life. You can see it on our Instagram regularly. She's been on the YouTube series Middle Ground regularly. She's been in the news, and she's always a consistent advocate for babies and their mamas. So Kristan, thanks for joining me today.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I have a lot I want to talk to you about. You know, I think the pro-abortion movement's big, ugly secret is that they actually don't care about helping women. They call themselves pro-woman. They label us as women haters and anti-woman, but it's actually the pro-lifers that care about women. And, you know, I think right now, and I'm sure we can talk about this because it's almost like a form of gaslighting that's been happening across our country because for years, for decades, the pro-abortion movement has claimed that women and babies, real babies, babies that already been born, will be harmed by pro-life policies and that pro-lifers don't really care about women after their babies are born and that we provide no help for women and families in crisis pregnancies. So before we didn't do any of that. Now that Roe has fallen, the argument is, well, we have pregnancy centers and even, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren, talked about the fact that all these pregnancy centers outnumber abortion facilities. And now we have to be shut down because heaven forbid we give women, baby formula, which they can't find on the shelves thanks to Biden inflation, and diapers. And so therefore they have to be shut down because we terrorize women. I mean, it's unbelievable. I want to actually play for you before you respond to this, Kristan, because I think you'll have a lot to speak into it. Let me play for you a quick clip of Senator Warren, which she recently said in an interview about abortion clinics versus pregnancy resource centers.
In Massachusetts right now, those crisis pregnancy centers that are there to fool people who are looking for pregnancy termination help outnumber true abortion clinics by 3 to 1. We need to shut them down here in Massachusetts, and we need to shut them down all around the country. You should not be able to torture a pregnant person like that.
All right, Kristan, what do you think about this? Are we really terrorizing and fooling women by operating all of these predatory pregnancy resource centers across the country?
Well, here's the deal. They say that women are strong enough to make their own decision when it comes to abortion, right?
Mm-hmm.
They say, well, this is what a woman wants, it's her choice. Well, why is it not also her choice to choose life? Why, when she walks into a pregnancy resource center, she all of a sudden victimized and we're manipulating her? Why is she not then also strong enough to make the choice to choose life? She's choosing this. No one's manipulating her. No one is bending her over backwards, trying to force a decision on her. When women are given the resources and when they're shown the resources that are available that Planned Parenthood doesn't do, they tend to choose life because they don't know what's out there. And Planned Parenthood's not going to tell them what's out there.
It's so frustrating. I mean, we literally have the receipts in the pro-life movement that we are there supporting women and families through this unplanned pregnancy, and we're there during the pregnancy and then after the pregnancy. Tell me a little bit about, your story and how you're kind of using your experience to now help other women in Denver, where you're at, where your family's at, and across the country.
Yeah. So I had my own unplanned pregnancy. So when people say you don't know what it's like for these women, you don't know the fear that they're experiencing, I do. I know exactly what it feels like. I know the fear. I know the uncertainty. I know the excitement that you even have in there. I mean, there's every single emotion under the sun that you could feel when you're in an unplanned pregnancy, especially when you are single and, not married the way God intended families to be. You feel a lot of emotions, and I've been there. I've done that. And I ended up choosing life after being essentially offered a bribe to have an abortion. My son's father said that he did not want to be a father at the time, and things have changed since then, which is great. But he ended up offering me a large sum of money to have an abortion, $50,000 to kill my son. And without saying exactly what I said, you can take your money and shove it where the sun don't shine. So that kind of was my experience with the unplanned pregnancy aspect. I know that men can force and coerce women into abortions and pressure them to do things. We know that that's a very high percentage of abortions in general. And I kind of took that and was like, I know what it feels like to not have that support. I know what it feels like to really be uncertain. I want to be that woman for other people. And I want to be vocal about this issue. And I started kind of speaking out on social media, hence the word speak out. I started, really talking about my pro-life beliefs, kind of slow because it can be intimidating if you haven't done it before. And, the left and the pro-abortion side can really attack. So I was a little scared. So I started speaking out, and then eventually a woman messaged me and said, "Hey, I canceled my abortion appointment because of a post that you made." And I don't even know what post it was, but immediately I wanted to help her. And I was like, okay, you canceled your appointment. This is great. But what else can I do to help you? Like, it's not enough that you canceled your appointment. How can I support you? Because obviously finances were one of the reasons you were wanting to schedule this abortion. So I went out on a limb and went full blown pro-life on my page and was like, hey, this woman canceled her appointment. Do you guys want to help support her? Everybody jumped in, and then they wanted to do it again. And then they wanted to do it again and again. And they're like, can you find more women? How can we help more women? And so I said, as long as you guys want to help these women, and as long as you're going to put your money where your mouth is, I'll continue to find these women to help them. And that's what I do now. I go to a lot of local pregnancy resource centers and let them know that I'm a resource and say, hey, if you have a woman who is abortion minded, chooses life, and she's, financially unstable, obviously, if she makes six figures, she doesn't necessarily need the help probably. But for those who are financially unstable, which is the majority of women in these situations, I'm here to help them, and I'm here to be a support. And we've done that for dozens of women and raise, I don't know, easily a couple $100,000 at this point, maybe more, just from social media. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with social media. It's such a silly thing, these apps, but it's a way for me to organize a pro-life movement and use my platform for good, because what good is my platform if I'm not using it for something beneficial?
You really need to track how many dollars you've seen donated. So I was going to send you an email, but I'll just tell you that now. Because I think that would be a powerful collective to say, one person using her social media, a mom using her social media, has been able to inspire others to give more than X number $100,000s. Because It's amazing to see people like, I watch them on your page. Like, I got this, I'll chip in right now. I mean, it's amazing just to see the generosity that's out there.
Well, and I'm just one person. That's what I want to stress is there's thousands of people like me, more than thousands of people like me. I'm just one little itty bitty grain of sand in this massive hourglass of pro-life people. I'm not alone in doing this. There's an entire army behind me.
And I think that's what's so empowering is, yes, you are one person. Can you imagine if every person in the post-Roe pro-life gen would do this? You know, we would be able to surround all of the women. There's more pro-life advocates out there than there are women experiencing a crisis pregnancy this year. And if we each adopted one of those women and one of those families and said, let's find the way to get you out of this crisis that you're in, whether it's a bad relationship or economic crisis, let's figure this out together. We would eliminate abortion. But that, I call that, and I think you can call it seeking the social justice with a person, which is much more harder than just saying, passing a law and putting a check beside a box and saying, I'm a social justice advocate. What are some of the stories, I guess, from that you can share? I know what you do, a lot of what you do is confidential, but every time we're together, you tell me a story of someone you're helping, a woman you're helping, and some of these stories are just unbelievable. I think it would be helpful for those tuning in to kind of understand, especially those who have never themselves worked inside of a pregnancy center and kind of met the women who are there, at the moment of crisis. What's going on in her life to lead her to that point where she finds a stranger on Instagram and says, yes, I'm considering having an abortion. Help me.
Yeah. Well, for the first woman, the very first one that kind of was the domino effect, the first domino that made the rest of the fall. She had a boyfriend. They weren't married yet, and they already had a kid. And because of COVID, he lost his job. They moved in with their parents. So they're not married yet. They have a kid already. They're living with their parents due to COVID. Everything was shutting down. So they didn't have the ability to really go out and find more work, because everything was shut down at the time. It was kind of at the very beginning of the COVID stuff. And so really finances and uncertainty and not knowing when they were going to be able to move back out was the situation for her. One of my favorite stories though, because I didn't know about the abortion pill reversal for the longest time. And I love that that's even a thing. There was a woman who ended up taking the abortion pill, and I talked to a local pregnancy center here, and they said she's taken the abortion pill and we've done the abortion pill reversal. We're hoping that everything turns out right in the event that it does. Do you want to help her? And of course I'm like, absolutely, I'm here. Well, the abortion pill reversal not only saved her baby, it saved both of her babies because she was pregnant with twins, which was super awesome. And everybody jumped on board. We did the double car seats, we did the double stroller, everything that she needed, 2 cribs, 2 mattresses, like everything doubled, the swings, like all of it, everybody donated that. And then most recently one that we did, which is a really tough situation that the mom is in. She has 3 kids already with her husband, and her husband told her that if she had their 4th baby that she was pregnant with, he would leave her. And he kept his promise. She chose life. He left her. And so now she's a single mom of 3 kids, one of which is about 18 months, just had surgery. And so she's going into this, mother of 4 as a single mom, brand new, has no idea how she's going to really make things work. So we did a baby registry for her. We did a baby shower. And then I just kind of had it on my heart to do something else. And I do every now and then I'll do a $1 challenge, which is kind of a fundraiser. Like not everybody can stand to lose $20 or $100, but the majority of people can stand to lose $1. And so I do a $1 challenge, and I have several thousand, 50,000 plus, almost 60,000 followers. And not everybody sees your post, but I'm thinking, okay, if everybody gives $1, that could be a lot of money to help this woman. And we raised over $13,000 for her. And is that life-changing? Not necessarily, but it's going to help her, maybe with rent for a few months, or maybe help with food or groceries, somewhere along those lines. Her child just had surgery and has to have another surgery. So 13 grand, is that going to raise her 4 children? Not necessarily, but it's definitely a help. And she was moved to tears when we gave it to her.
That's amazing. I think you're right on. Like $13,000 isn't going to like dramatically change her life, but I think it's what we've seen time and time again with Students for Life groups that start scholarship funds for pregnant parent students on campus. The scholarship funds may only give out $500 a year or a semester to a pregnant parent student, but it's the thought. It's that whole thought that counts, that, wow, somebody here on my campus loves me and supports me and wants to help me. I remember the first time a Students for Life group did and created this pregnant parenting scholarship. It wasn't my idea. I just kind of took the idea and spread it. Now, dozens and dozens of colleges have this idea, but the idea came from the group at St. Louis University. And I met with the advisor, and he had told me, the first year that they did this scholarship, he had a woman, and everything was done anonymously. So I think it's still done in a lot of the schools. They're anonymous, where you can apply, and then there's a board, but your name's kind of redacted. But and they did it anonymously. But the student knew the advisor. A pregnant student knew the advisor of the club and went up to the Students for Life advisor and said, I didn't have my abortion last semester because you were advertising the scholarship fund. And to me, I think that's so powerful of $500, a couple $100, will buy you a couple cans of formula and some diapers, but it was the gesture. And I think that's what's so incredible about what you're doing is you're making that gesture, showing her that there's this whole community of people out there that love and support her, and that really have her back. And I think that's such a beautiful dichotomy with the evil of the abortion industry. I mean, it becomes very clear when you talk to a rabid pro-abortion, abortion apologist that, nothing makes them satisfied when it comes to there is no conceding, there is no middle ground with a pro-abortion person. And there really isn't, even when you try to sit down and have a conversation, there really isn't a strategy of, okay, so let's take abortion off the table. What do you say to women who just courageously choose not to have an abortion, say they don't want to have an abortion? What are you doing to support her through that pregnancy? What alternatives do you promote? They don't have anything. I mean, have you had these conversations?
Yeah. Well, I want to say back on what we were just talking about, just because it's $500 or $13,000, that doesn't mean that's where we stop. If those women then reached out to us and needed something else, we have other resources to connect them to. It's not like we're like, here's 13 grand, poo, you're on your way. We have other resources to connect them to, and we will utilize those resources to help them as much as we can. Mm-hmm. However, it's degrading to a woman to assume and to think that she should be on support and dependence her whole life or while she's raising her children. What's empowering to a woman is to give them a boost and help them become independent. Nobody wants to be on government assistance their entire life. Nobody wants to have to say, hey, Christine, I need help buying diapers every single day. But they want to say hey, thank you for helping me find a job. Thank you for helping me do this so I can do it myself and I can be this support to my children. But we don't just leave them. I mean, I've babysat some of the babies that have been born, and I still have relationships with the moms and still keep in touch with them. Another mom just reached out to me who has a 1-year-old now, 18-month-old now, I think. And she's like, hey, we're really struggling. We need a little bit of clothes and some extra diapers. Could you send something? Bam, had it done. My followers filled it. So we're still there. But what's funny is you're right. The abortion industry or the abortion supporters don't do this. I had a woman message me about the $13,000. She said, well, $13,000 isn't going to do any, the trolls, and I do this to imitate them. $13,000 isn't going to do anything. It's just going to, it's not even a blimp in the radar kind of thing. That's not ongoing support. And so I messaged her back and I said, you're right. $13,000 isn't going to raise her baby. Would you like to donate to help support her? Immediately I got blocked. Didn't want anything to do with it. She's like, no, whenever I do this and the trolls come out, they come out every single time. And they say that it's not enough. I asked them, do you want to help? Here's the baby registry link. Will you donate? silence. Either they're silenced, they block me, they say some sort of explicitive. They're never there when it's time to help. Ever really. I mean, by the off chance there's, I'm sure there's somebody out there, maybe, but I don't see them. And it's when these people tell us that we're not doing enough, they don't want to step in and help them either. And I'm like, okay, well, I thought it was about choice. So this woman chose life on her own, and you're not willing to help support her. You only want to pay for her abortion. That's what they say is, I'll donate to her the next abortion in your name, or I'd rather pay for an abortion or donate to Planned Parenthood in your name. It's insane.
I think it's just this false compassion that I guess these pro-abortion advocates dupe themselves into believing that they have, that they're so compassionate for women's suffering and family suffering, that abortion is this solution to the problem. But then it becomes like a lazy solution, because then it's I care about women. I care about the rape victim. I care about the woman who's being trafficked by her partner. Check, I supported abortion. I'm done. And so it's like, I don't really want to dig in and help women in these situations. I just want to be able to feel good about myself and say, yep, I voted for the pro-abortion politician. Yep, I donated $5 to Planned Parenthood. I'm a social justice warrior and I'm helping women. Is that kind of the vibe you get from these conversations?
Being pro-life obviously is the right thing to do, but it's also tough because the majority of pro-lifers, I mean, what I say is, in order to be pro-life, the only thing you have to do is be opposed to killing babies. That's it. However, the majority of pro-lifers are doing other things to help these women. And it takes up our time. It takes up our money. It takes up our resources. It takes effort. It's emotional sometimes, depending on what the situation the woman is in. It's tough sometimes. We're giving to these women and pouring into these women and using our time, efforts, and resources to do this. It's much easier to sit on the couch, flip through the channels and be like, oh yeah, I voted. Or if they even vote, or troll somebody from behind a phone or a computer screen. I mean, what they do is easy and lazy. What we do takes effort and hard work, but don't get me started on the left versus the right, because we know what hard work is.
That's absolutely right. Well, I am so grateful that you are doing this hard work, and I'm so honored that we've been able to partner with you to produce this Speak Out podcast, Instagram show. I'm so old. When the team was like, we're going to have Kristan do a show for us, I was like, what do you mean a show? They're like, on Instagram. I was like, they have shows on Instagram. I was so behind. You're a mom of four who's like hip and like knows what's going on, because apparently I am not that hip. But can you tell folks a little bit about the podcast, the show, what you're covering? You've had some like pretty big guests on. Like, I haven't even gotten some of these guests on Explicitly Pro-Life, but somehow you have this like magic. So who are you having on? Like, what are you hoping to kind of accomplish with this show?
Yeah, my overall goal with the show is to encourage people to speak out, hence the name Speak Out, because I know what it's like to be pro-life, but be uncomfortable with saying things. I have a lot of people who message me in my DMs are like, hey, I agree with you, but I can't say anything because my family this, or my work this, or I want to encourage them to speak out. And I want to show like, hey, here's these big people who speak out, and a lot of them put their career on the line in order to do so, because it's not necessarily a popular topic when you look at the way the world is right now. Even sometimes politicians can steer clear of the pro-life issue, but there are people who are willing to stand up for what is right, and they're willing to speak out. And I want to encourage others when they listen. I've had Dennis Prager on, I've had Dr. Ben Carson, Alex Clark, Christian Watson of 1924, who's absolutely amazing, did a collab with us at Students for Life on some really killer merch stuff. I have had, it's still fairly new and it's only bi-weekly right now. So while it feels like it's been a lot longer, it's, being bi-weekly kind of means that there's less episodes than maybe explicitly pro-life, but we've had Alex Clark on, Isabel Brown, Christian Walker. We've had a lot of really great names. I just I just had Seth Dillon on of Babylon Bee, booked Kirk Cameron is coming on, and a few other people that I'm not allowed to talk about yet. So I got to get them on the calendar first.
This is awesome though. I mean, I tune in. I mean, obviously I follow all of Students for Life's Instagram, so I'll see your new episode. I'm like, oh my gosh, she just talked to Dr. Ben Carson. I mean, you have, I think the shows are great and they're not super long, so they're easy to watch. Do folks they can subscribe to Students for Life's Instagram and watch the show. They can also subscribe to your podcast, right? And then
you can just search Speak Out with Kristan Yeargin. It is powered by Students for Life, but it is separate, obviously, from like explicitly pro-life. It's Students for Life, but also kind of separate, I guess. I think
it's
you can
a
find
collaboration with Kristan Yeargin.
Yes. So I think if you even go to the Students for Life YouTube, you should be able to see Speak Out. There should be some sort of a link. I'm not as tech savvy myself, but there should be a link to Speak Out on there that you can see. And then you can also just search it on Students for Life Instagram page or Facebook page, and then it has all the links on there.
Where's your handle though? If folks want to follow you specifically, especially with all of these fundraisers that you're doing.
My Instagram handle is at Kristan Yeargin, just my name, Kristan with the C, and Yeargin is Yeargin. And you can also find me probably on the Students for Life page because I'm on there fairly regularly.
Yes, you're on there all the time. And as you know, there's a lot of things going on in Denver and Colorado. So you are a go-to spokesperson there. I guess I have, one hard question and then I'll let you go and do what you need to do today. What you mentioned before was you get a lot of these DMs about folks wanting to know how they can speak out. And that's why you named the show Speak Out. What's the best advice you can give to someone who is pro-life, is passionately pro-life, but is really afraid to post something on social media or start that conversation with a pro-choice family member or friend or coworker?
Well, first of all, I'd say listen to Speak Out because that's a question that I end every single episode with. So all of these people give their answer to that. But for me, what I would say is you have to know that being pro-life and advocating for babies is what's right. There's nothing controversial about being pro-life. There is something controversial about dismembering babies. So first and foremost, you need to understand that that's the right position to have. And any of these names that anybody's going to call you, whether they say you hate women or you're misogynistic or you're this vile human being, it's not true, right? You know that that's not what it is. And you have to just move past that. They're going to say something. They could say that you're a Smurf. Well, that's not true. So you just move past it and you ignore it. You have to know who you are and what you believe and what's right, and just start doing it. You can start small if you're uncomfortable and, start sharing some like feel good pro-life stories of this woman chose life. Here's her life now. But really start having these conversations with people because you would be surprised. Most people just don't know what abortion is. And when you can educate them and tell them like, hey, did you know what abortion is? Do you know what it does to a baby? Do you know what it does to a mom or the side effects to a mother? Most often I find that they don't know what it is. They support it, but they don't know what it is. And so just start speaking out and eventually it comes natural. And now I hate to say, but like the trolls kind of fuel me. Like if they hate on me, it's kind of fuel now because I know what I'm doing is right. If I'm not getting any sort of pushback at all, then I'm not standing for anything.
Yeah, and you have the activist mindset right there. Is when you let the trolls fuel your work and you let those who oppose you really kind of feed this desire, this momentum you have to continue to speak truth, to continue to help women in crisis pregnancy situations. Kristan, thank you for all that you do with Be Their Village, with everything you're doing with Students for Life and your new show, Speak Out. I am so excited. I cheer you on all the time when I see all of your posts on Instagram. And I think you have a book that you should be writing with all of these stories of these courageous women who are facing these, what many would say are insurmountable obstacles, who choose life. and how they then become supported by the pro-life movement. I hope all of you listening today have taken just some tidbits of wisdom from Kristine's story, her courageousness, and really just the power of the one person. If we could all be Kristine Yeargins, I think we would definitely see abortion to be unthinkable in our lifetime. And that's obviously what we're doing in the pro-life movement and what we're hoping to inspire this post-Roe gen to do. So thank you all for tuning in this week. Thank you, Kristine, for joining me. I hope you subscribe to Exclusively Pro-Life Podcast, and I'll see you soon.